office space was beginning to feel cluttered and a bit out of date. The Ikea desk and table legs that I had purchased were performing terrifically, but unfortunately the way they were built, it was beginning to sag in the middle, and so I needed a better solution. I went online and purchased a standing desk called Jarvis from a company called Fully. The reason for this is that I needed something that supports the center of the desk, and while I was at it, I upgraded for the health benefits of a standing desk. In this video, we're doing a brief overview of the new office setup, as well as showing you what it's like to use an Ikea tabletop with a Fully desk. I made a complete instructional video on how to use this standing desk with your own tabletop, so if you're interested in getting your own or following along, I'll be posting that in a few days' time. With that being said, I set out with a plan, a vacuum cleaner, new studio lights, and got to work. The first step in refactoring the entire office setup was to get everything out of the way. That involved taking the entire setup apart, the iMac off, the screen off, the microphone off, all that good stuff, moving the media center out of the way, and cleaning up the living room to create a nice big workable area. The next step was to make a plan for the new layout, so we measured everything, and then made blocks in Excel to make nice printouts to be able to move around on a piece of paper. Once we had a plan, the first step was to take the iMac and everything off the desk. I'm not sure if it's easy to see here, but you can kind of see the warp in the Ikea tabletop. With the table clean, the next step was to move everything out of the way. That included the media center, the couch, anything that's movable. I had forgotten how much actual livable space there was in the living room until I cleaned everything up. Once the table was clean, the next step was to remove the external graphics card that was mounted to the underside of the desk, and the next step was to remove all of the excess cabling by the router and internet connection. With a nice clean workable area, I turned my attention to putting together the Jarvis desk. The frame itself comes in two very straightforward packages, and it might seem a bit intimidating to put the entire custom frame together by yourself. Once you get everything out of the boxes and laid out on a nice clean surface, there aren't actually that many pieces to put together. As I mentioned, I'll be putting together a complete assembly video within the following few days. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Funny story, I actually found a few small, insignificant mistakes in the Jarvis instruction booklet, but it was still pretty funny. With all of the space available, I was able to lay out all of the parts of the frame, which aren't actually that numerous, about 8 metal pieces in total. And with all of the pieces laid out, I was able to invert the tabletop, make the appropriate measurements from the corners so that everything lines up perfectly, and then start assembly. One thing to keep in mind is that the instruction booklet actually has a step to affix the legs in place on the left and right before you add the metal frame. In my instruction video, I'll allude to how it's actually better to put the metal frame in the middle before you attach the legs. Get somebody's help to flip the desk to avoid damaging it by trying to do it yourself, and here we're about to see the fully assembled standing desk standing on its own. For science. Nice. Once we had it flipped over, the next step was to do all of the cable management for power and connecting the motors. With everything clean and ready for the computer setup, this was the result at the end of day 2. Finally, on day 3, I was able to connect the entire setup. This involved power management, hanging the eGPU from the bottom of the desk to save on space, and setting everything else up. If you haven't seen it already, check out my earlier video on the Creator Studio update where I mount the external graphics card under the tabletop. I think it looks really clean so far, and I'm really glad we did this renovation. Here's what the new setup looks like with only one of the studio lights up and running since one of them arrived defective. For reference, I'm 6 feet tall, and this desk goes from very low to very high. Perfect. So this is what the final setup looks like. Here we have the standing desk in its standing position. We set up this table here so that it's more of a usable space. This is for filming overhead shots and different project scenes here. Pet bird. Regrettably, this studio light did arrive broken, so for now we have this current one. In this corner we have the media center set up as well as a ton of laptops. Here, if you guys are interested in a video on why I have so many laptops, let me know in the comments below. Over here we have a corkboard for a different thumbnail inspiration for YouTube. And this is the desk setup for general use, filming, editing, all of that good stuff. We have the external graphics card mounted underneath the table, as well as some amount of power management here, with an extension block mounted. For general use, I use an 11 Pro Max, but this is also 256 gigabyte 11 Tennis Max for filming secondary shots as well. The CalDigit TS3 Dock, which I swear by, and be sure to check out that video. This I got for my birthday recently actually, so I've just been getting into Nintendo Switch gaming. This battery pack that I swear by as well, it has up to 4 full chargers for the iPhone. Awesomely terrific. iPad, K380 Bluetooth keyboard for general use, and the tripod for general filming, as well as this project that's currently in progress. As you can see, the table is super sturdy, so I'm exerting a decent amount of force here and trying to shake it. There's barely any movement in the table, so it's pretty terrific. It only moves if you really try to move the table. And here, if I want to sit down, all I need to do is select one of the presets here, select one, and the desk adjusts for us. And that's the studio tour. I mean, there's not much else to it. We have the couch in the center of the living room, and this is mostly the entire apartment with another bedroom here, one of the working studio lights, and then miscellaneous bookshelf for miscellaneous items. Sorry, it's a bit cluttered. But yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Let me know in the comments below if you want any advice regarding this desk, or whether you're considering a standing desk of your own. I've been using it for a few days now, and I can definitely notice a difference that standing feels better. As always, don't forget to reach out, like and comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good day.